Thank you for doing this.
No, thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's our pleasure. So this podcast is about your journey in music and how you got to where you are now.
Great. Let's get started.
Right on. Well, first talk about where did you grow up?
Yes, so I'm originally from Latvia. Don't know
Okay.
if you know where that is. It's a country in Europe, in Baltic states. So I'm from Latvia. I grew up in a small town, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where everything really started. That's where the dream happened, and that's where everything started. And since a very early age, I was into music. I started writing like poetry, and yeah, I just really kind of enjoyed spending time with like writing stories and discovering music and listening to music. And yeah, I was always daydreaming.
And like you said, you're writing that early. How old were you?
Well, yes, but it wasn't like very in-depth writing. It was more,
Sure.
um, I remember like writing my first song with my sister and my cousin at the age of 6, 7.
Wow.
So it was always this like creative spirit in me and in the people around me. And yes, I actually remember like writing this song with them and then calling up a radio station and wanting to just like sing for just fun, because there was this radio show that would like accept calls and you could just call up and be like, I want to talk to you and I have a song for you.
Oh,
So
wow.
things like that happened.
That's really cool. Well, when did you learn guitar? I noticed you play guitar.
Yes, well, I actually just started learning guitar this year.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
when the first lockdown happened
Oh,
in March, I decided that I always wanted to learn guitar, and I did started learning guitar like maybe 5 years ago, but then it was always like on and off, and I wasn't very consistent with my practice.
mhm.
But then when the lockdown happened like last year, I was just like, okay, I have to learn a new skill, or I have to improve
Uh-huh.
something. I was like, guitar it is. So I bought a new guitar and I was like, I'm gonna do this. And yeah, I'm having lessons now, and I'm
You're
slowly.
good. You're getting good. I mean, for only playing like from last year, I was shocked. Like, cause you on your Instagram, you play some songs and stuff with the guitar and sing
Yeah,
along.
I'm
Wow,
very
that's
excited.
cool. Yeah. Well, okay. So you must have started out singing. How old were you when you started singing?
So similar to obviously the age when I started writing and just messing around with music
Uh-huh.
was the time when I really enjoyed like singing, and I enjoyed just music. So I went to music school from the age of
Oh.
7, and I was playing violin, but I always was kind of a bit lazy when it comes to like instruments, but I always loved just like vocals and songs. So I would always prefer like classes where like solfeggio and like singing and
Hmm.
technique, rather than going and playing an instrument. So I just realized from a very early age that um, I want to improve vocal more than I want to be a musician playing an instrument.
Hmm.
So I started taking private lessons. I joined a girls band. I started writing my own songs, but those were like, obviously, what can you write when you're 10, 11?
Right.
You just start really learning about, you know, music. And
Hmm.
yeah, that's when everything really happened. And I always had that dream, and I always had that something was telling me that you have to do this, and I just really wanted to do it. I knew it was a crazy idea to pursue music as a career, but it's just me, so
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll have
Wow.
it.
Well, so you played violin. Was that the first instrument you learned?
Yes, that
Okay.
was the first instrument, and then piano, and then now I'm playing guitar. I don't
Okay.
think
You
I
can
can
play
play.
piano. I'm sorry.
I said I don't think I'll be able to play violin at this age.
Oh, really? What about keyboard or piano? Can you still play piano?
Yes, I would say more like it helps me with writing, like
Hmm.
chords and sequences of melodies and stuff. But I wouldn't say that I'm super confident with like performing with the piano. That's another thing I want to improve actually this year, because now I can, I believe I can do it because I started learning guitar, and
Guitar, yeah.
I know I can do it. I just need to
Uh-huh.
do it myself. So this year is all about guitar and piano.
I love that. That's awesome. Well, so you said you went to a music school. Did you have to like was that just a choice? You can just I mean, how old are you 7? You're going to music school? Is that something that you had to audition to get into that school, or is that just an option? Like, you know what, I want to go to the music school instead of whatever primary school.
Yes. So, well, I went to a normal school, like secondary school, is if that's what you call it in Latvia, and
Uh-huh.
then I went to two schools at the same time. So the music school was in,
Oh.
so there was like a school from 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning till like 1 2 p.m., and then the music school from like 3 or 4 p.m. till like later in the evening. So
Oh, wow.
I don't remember how the decision happened that we had to go to the musical, but I was very excited. My
Mhm.
parents, I guess, knew that me and my sister, we were quite musical. And yeah, so we ended up going to music school. And it was a classical music school, but it kind of was a great introduction into, music theory,
Mhm.
just training and really understanding, learning more about, the basics.
Did they have you perform in front of the class, or were you able to kind of get comfortable on stage that way as well?
Yes, I would. Well, we had exams like playing violin exams every term.
Mhm.
It was definitely helpful, I believe, in like performance skills, but not as much as like pop performance, because you didn't have to like, it was different style.
Mhm.
But at the same time, while I was doing, while I was in the music school, I knew that I wanted to do singing. So I started taking like pop music private lessons
Oh,
uh,
okay.
from the age of 11. So I kind of knew that, music school is great. It will finish when I'll be like 14. And then from the age of 11, I started taking like private lessons, more like pop music, and then
Mhm.
choreography lessons for like dance classes and stuff like that. Because I was always like, okay, great. I've done the classical training, but I want to do like pop music. So I was always like, asking my dad, can I please take these, can I please go to choreography lessons or singing lessons, because we lived in like a small village
Mhm.
countryside kind of area, and for us to get to like the city would be like, I would have to ask my dad drive us to the city. And yeah, it was kind of the whole journey and the process, but it was very exciting. And it was just, I just always like, it was the most exciting thing for me as a teenager, like to do
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, definitely. That's cool. Well, when did you start writing your own songs and like actually showing them to people and performing them?
Mm. Yeah, so I'm kind of trying to go through this timeline of how
Yeah, yeah, please. No, if I'm jumping ahead,
all over the place, but
yeah, if you want to keep it linear, that's cool with me. I just didn't know how much further ahead that was, but that's
that's
cool. Yeah.
we're going step by step. It's great. Uh, so yeah, so 11, I was starting taking lessons and then doing my own thing, and I knew that I wanted to like move and to a city where it's more busy, more dynamic, more things are happening, because in Latvia there wasn't like a university I could go to for like popular music. So
Yeah. Were there a
I
lot of places to watch live music at all, or no?
there are places to watch music, but it's very much like very Latvian style, and it's very traditional. It's like if you want to do music, you have to write and sing in Latvian. And I just always wanted to do more international style.
So people aren't getting up there and covering like American artists or artists from the UK that speak English.
Sorry, say it again.
I said, so there aren't like places you can go, like clubs or whatever, that maybe somebody would be playing like, English songs or
There
uh,
would be. It would be just a mixture of also Latvian. And
everything. Oh, okay.
yeah, I just felt like it wasn't me exactly how I wanted to imagine my career or my life. So I knew that I wanted more adventure, bigger audiences, bigger, market. And I thought, London was really great place to move to, because it was like 2.5 hours flight. And I applied for university in BIM, London Tech Music School, at that time. So I got into that university, and I was like, great, now we can do this.
Yeah.
And so yeah,
That must have been exciting to get into that college or
yes,
that
I was
university. Wow.
excited.
How did you get in? Did you have to, you said you applied. What was the process like? Send songs or a tape of yourself singing or?
Everything, all of that. So there was like, I had to like video myself of doing all green cover. I think it was what was the name of the song? I can't remember right now, but I just remember those days, going after school and recording. And at
Did
that time, I wasn't
they
really.
sent you the prompt and said, "Oh, you have to sing this Al Green
Yes,
song"?
exactly,
Oh,
exactly.
okay.
You had like questions you had to answer and talk about it. And then once I did that stage one, there was like, I had to like book my flights to London, and I had to come for an in-person interview.
Mm-hmm.
So that was even more exciting for me. And
had you ever been out of your country before, prior?
yes, I've been to London once before that.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, so I had like auditions in two different universities. I got accepted in both of them, but I decided that this was more for me. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so, and that's how everything really started. Like I learned a lot, like, about music industry, about how to really write songs, because before that I wasn't really writing that much. So
Mm-hmm.
that was the time when I started writing and learning about songwriting, and what is my style and what sound I want to, put out there. And yeah, that was the very early days of me, starting my career. And
Uh-huh.
it wasn't, obviously it was exciting, but it was also like very, very uncertain and scary at the same time, because it's not an industry where, there's a path, this like an exact thing you need to follow. And
Right. There's no formula for it. Exactly. It's like it's all based on opinion.
exactly. So, they always said that to us, that there's, you can go and teach, you can go and do, other, you can do, you can be a session musician. So I always knew that, I don't want to teach, and I don't want to be a session musician. I want to be an artist, and I want to write my own songs and want to perform. But I also knew that it's not, it's not an easy industry to break into. So um, but somehow, I managed to, to grow and
Uh-huh.
to yeah.
When you were going to the school, were you playing any of your songs out like around London at all, or like when did you start writing your own songs and performing them
Mhm.
as like ELIZZA?
Yes, ELIZZA.
ELIZZA, sorry.
Yeah, of course. So during uni, I wrote my first songs, and obviously we had to perform some in front of class, but that wasn't really the main gig. So
Hmm.
after I graduated, I wrote like a lot of songs, and I wrote a lot of demos and stuff. And I started working with producers, and I started doing like small performances and small gigs in like coffee shops and like clubs. And there's those open mic nights. And that's when I started performing my own music. It
Hmm.
wasn't always like recorded music. It was the music that I've written, and I wanted to like test, does this work with audience? It doesn't work. And those were one of like some of my first songs. And yeah, so
Was
I
it
was.
scary showing those to people for the first time? Especially like I would think like an open mic night would be pretty terrifying.
Yes, to be honest, it was very terrifying, but at the same time, the more I was doing it, the more obviously I improved. And I I wasn't always like, I would always ask like my friends like first for an opinion, like, what do you,
Right, right.
is this okay? Is this okay to show? Or
Right. Is this good enough to get in front of people, or are they gonna just boo me off the
yeah,
stage?
exactly. But it was always great, not great, amazing, like in terms of the songs, they were not the greatest songs, but when I listen back to what I was writing at that time, I sometimes like miss that time because you can never write the same when you grow, you know. It's just
Right. You can't go backwards.
it's just
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so interesting to like see how you grow as an artist and how you evolve and how your songwriting evolves and how you can never write the same style or same story again, and
Hmm.
it's fascinating in a way.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I'm looking at your Spotify. "Mad for Love" or "Mad for You" is the first song that I'm seeing on there. Was that the first song that you recorded and put out to the world?
um yes, that was the first like official release that I did
Release.
independently, and it was with a Latvian producer. Actually, I went to record it with I went to record the song in Riga, my town where I spent like most of my teenage years.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, that was the first release, and to be honest, I didn't really know how it works and how anything, like that was the first song I would be like, okay, now I'm starting, putting
Hmm.
music out there, but there wasn't really a plan because I just didn't know how things work.
Sure. Yeah, just put it out and see what happens type thing.
Yes, and also it was like I feel like it was more like mentally telling myself that from today I'm doing this, like this is what I'm doing and there's no way back.
Oh, okay. So that was kind of like the push. Like, okay, I have a song. It's on the internet now. This is it. I'm a
Yeah,
thing.
exactly.
So after you put that song up online, what'd you do?
So it's interesting how how things start from take from one thing to another. So after I put out that "Mad for You," I started like receiving some emails from producers. They wanted to work with me, and I discovered this new world of like collaborating with people you've never met and like
Mhm.
writing with people you never met. And I was like, this is amazing. Like I didn't even I was like quite shocked that how would you how did you find me? How did you find my music? So
Yeah.
and then
I was gonna ask you that. How did they find it?
I mean, at that time, I would have like some covers out there, I have it on my website, Instagram, but it wasn't like I was doing like a lot of promotion. But I think yeah, it was just that time when I feel like a lot of new up and coming artists were just trying to like find their connections and find
Mhm.
people to collaborate with, and just now I feel like the industry in the UK is so small in a way. If you're in the music industry, you
Know
know
everybody.
everybody, or everybody like everybody knows you, but it's just like it's really small. So um you could just gotta start.
Mhm. No, yeah, definitely. Well, then after did you release that song when you were you in London at that time, or did you move back home when you put
No,
out the
I've always been
"Mad for
in.
You"?
Sorry.
When you put out "Mad for You," you were in London or no?
Yes, I was. I've always been in London since I moved for uni. I was just sometimes going back home to record, or sometimes going back home to
Uh,
spend some time with
so you
family.
went back home to work on the song because you said you worked with a producer,
Yeah,
right? There from your home country. Okay. So he found you online or something, you said?
I found him, but I knew of
Oh.
because he's doing quite well in Latvia, and he was one of the producers. I thought, this is someone I really want to work with. Probably the only person I knew at that time that from Latvia that I wanted to work with. So I reached out to him. I sent him some of my demos, and he liked "Mad for You" and he produced it. And then I went to Riga to like redo the vocals and finish the song, and that's how it happened.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. So you said you put that out and then other producers started contacting you.
Exactly.
Got
Yes.
it. Okay. So then what was the next move? Did you work with these people? Did you find one that you were like, okay, I want to work with this guy or girl?
Yes. So after "Mad for You," I got connected with a UK based producer, and we worked on some tracks for his project. So we put out this track, "Horizon" by me and Jake Alder. So that was like a second collaboration that we did. I did.
Hmm.
he reached out to me, and we worked on that track. And after that, I realized that I need to really start working on like a catalog of music. And is I knew what I wanted to do and what I had to do, but I just felt like I felt like I had to kind of take a step back and understand, like, what is exactly me and what sound is me and what I want to, show to the
Yeah.
world. So I took
Sure.
time to just write and like explore, write, and make mistakes, and just like build the catalog of my music. And that's when, yeah, I felt like, and that's when I kind of wrote like most of my songs that will be now on my EP, and that have been like the latest releases.
Mm-hmm. Oh, those are all, yeah, non-collaborative songs.
Oh, they
Oh, they
all
are collaborative.
are. Yes,
Okay.
it's just I'm putting them, it's developing nicely. I'm just putting them in like one project, like
Oh, got
the
you. Okay.
best songs that I've written, and the most important songs that I've written. And but they've all been collaborations with other producers or other songwriters from from UK, from the US, from, yeah, mostly from the UK or US. So I have a really exciting project coming up.
Very cool. And is London Eyes the first part of it, or will the other songs you put out prior be on the EP?
No, these
Like,
the songs that I've put out, like London Eyes, obviously is my latest single,
and
and
Habit came out last year too, right?
yeah. So last year I released London Eyes in September, then Habit in like June, July, and Want to Keep in February. So last year I released 3 singles.
Okay.
Those are like in the like singles on its own, and these won't be on. I don't think these will be on my EP as for now. But yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, tell me, you said you released the first one in February.
Mhm.
We were like pretty locked down, or not February, March is when the lockdown happened, right? I'm trying to like
Yes. So February was
right before it.
right before, and no one like to me, COVID wasn't like, it didn't exist at that time. So
Right.
February was great. Like I actually went to LA in February. That was like my last trip before lockdown happened. And I released my song, and I like celebrated the release with my friends in LA.
Oh,
And
cool.
yeah, it was like a Valentine's Day release, and it was a collaboration with Miles Stevenson. He's from the band Raksu from
Okay.
the UK, and yeah, he produced it, and that was like a really really fun collaboration with him. And yeah, that was the first single of 2020.
Okay. And then so you got back from LA to London, and then the world shuts down pretty quickly after that, right? Like a month or so later. And what's bizarre to me is that the whole world shut down, right? It's like not just the States or just the UK. It's like everywhere. The whole
It was like this once in a lifetime experience that I don't think anyone like thought they would ever experience in their life. Did you?
no way. Yeah, it's still bizarre. Well, you guys just got back in a huge lockdown, right? The prime minister just came out and said nobody's going anywhere.
I know, it's just never ending. I was hoping for a better start of 2020. I mean, in terms of lockdown and everything, but I guess we just need to, tackle this. And
Because there's like a new form, there's like a mutated strain, I think, right?
yeah, that's what they say. And I guess it's just, yeah, I hope things get better, but it's just been way too long to, to.
Yeah, it's crazy. Well, like you, where you are, you're in London right now. Yeah.
I
So what's crazy is like you guys just got in a heavy lockdown, and this mutated strain or whatever. We're in California, and the only one that's happened here, there's been two, I think, in the whole state, or the whole, all the states. And one of them was here. I live in San Diego, and it was in San Diego where the one weird mutated one is from. So it's like,
know.
we have it here, but who knows like what they're gonna do? Is it gonna be one of those things? I mean, our governor's crazy, so he'll probably just lock the whole state down again. But
Mm.
we'll see.
Free to like go out, and is everything open right now?
Sort of. You can. get takeout food. You can't sit inside or anything like that. You have to like everything, you know, mask and all that. But you can pick up food. You can't like sit in there. And they have like stores are open, but it's a kind of like very monitored, like where if you went into a store that would usually have, you know, 200 people walking around, they'll cut it at like 40. And then there's like a line outside of people waiting to get into the store. So it's just a bizarre world. Well, with that, like, so you came back home and released Habit and London Eyes, and those songs were finished, recorded, ready to go prior to COVID.
Yes, those were finished and recorded. The only thing I had to do was like mixing, mastering, but that was, you know, that happened like remotely. I didn't have to be in the studio. So I knew I really wanted to release Habit actually like in in May, but there was a little delay because of the whole, you know, lockdown. And I wanted to do a music video for Habit, but again, there was, you know, lockdown.
Yeah.
And then when everything slowly opened, I'm so happy I used that like 1 week to like arrange the music video shoot, and we managed to do it because, you know, at that time it was okay to do it, obviously following the guidelines and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then again it happened.
Yeah.
So I was kind of like working and recording and filming and shooting in between those like breaks, and it was, I mean, there was nothing else to really like do in terms of, I find it in a way the whole year was great for me to focus on my work and music and
Mm-hmm.
the projects I wanted to do. Obviously it was challenging to arrange everything and limited, you know, access to studios or meeting people, but at the same time somehow we managed to do it.
Right. Yeah. Well, with that, were you able to continue to be creative during the lockdown, or were you writing at all, or were you like, okay, I'm tired of being inside. I'm like not inspired at all.
Yes. So I would say, I'm just thinking now if I how many songs I've written. I would say it wasn't that, it was more creative in a way, like ideas or like content or kind of plans that I wanted to more of my like release schedules and things like that. I was writing, but I spent more time on like planning and marketing and social media and learning guitar. So I don't think I've written more than like three or four new songs, but I have written one song which is going to be part of the EP, and I'm really really excited about that song. And I've written with guys from LA, so it was like a remote session, and it was like the first,
Wow.
and it was so good, and I'm just really excited.
Was it fun doing the remote session, or is it different? Obviously it's different, but like tell me about the vibe and how writing over Zoom or whatever you guys used was different than being in the room. Do you feel like you got a different sound that way?
It was definitely very strange at the beginning because I love writing with other people, but I'm more like comfortable, you know, writing by myself. And especially when it's like Zoom, it's just even more strange to like open up and share your ideas and, you know, improvise when you're like on this looking at the screen and you're like,
Computer screen.
I'm supposed to like improvise now and like share all my ideas that I have. So it was very very new and different experience, but we managed to do a pretty good job, I think.
That's cool. And songs recorded and everything, or no?
Yes, it's ready.
Wow. So how did you produce it? Did you go to a studio, or do you have a studio at your house that you could
I don't
work
produce
out
it
of?
myself. So I was working with a producer and another songwriter. They are based in LA. So
Mm-hmm.
we had a session. I wrote the lyrics. We wrote together. You know, we finished the lyrics and melodies, and the production was kind of there. And then once we had the main, you know, main idea and main parts of the song, the producer finished it on its own, the production part,
Oh,
and
okay.
then I went into the studio here in London to like redo the whole vocal.
Oh, okay.
At the time when there was, you know, studios were open. Some
Yeah.
September. So yeah, and that's how it's kind of back and forth. We sent the files and we finished it.
That's
And
cool.
yeah.
And what about live shows? I mean, prior to COVID, were you playing out quite a bit or no?
Well, I'm still, at the early stages in my career, so I wasn't
Sure.
doing like very, big live shows. I was doing like um, shows in Mahiki and like London club and bar, and I had last year. Well, actually, that was 2019 when I had like every Wednesday I was playing live sessions, and there were some like smaller gigs that were happening, but I was mainly focused on writing and recording.
Hmm.
And yeah, I'm hoping that once all of this is over, I hope it will be over at some point. There will be grand live shows and festivals and things like
Sure.
that I can take part in. But for now, it all seems very much digital and very much like live streaming rather than going to a festival, which is quite sad and yeah, very
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. With the live streams, do you enjoy those? Like I've seen a few of them on your Instagram. I know, well, we were talking about you playing guitar. Do you like doing the live ones? Is it nerve-wracking? Is it weird
I
because nobody's like
Yeah,
responding directly?
exactly. I haven't done too many of them, but I prefer doing them with like another person, like let's do a joint, like, gig. We play three songs each, or we do like an interview, like kind of, it's more fun to do with another person rather than just being by yourself. But that's one thing I want to do more this year and like kind of just use the time that I have and improve the live streaming skills that I feel like are very important in today's world, as we don't have the actual real live shows.
I know it's such a different world, and yeah, hopefully it all opens up soon,
I
and
know.
live music can be back and be a thing. Well, you talked about an EP. Do you have the one, obviously the one song done that you wrote with the guy people in LA? Do you have the whole EP completed or idea for it, or what do you have going on
Yes.
with that?
So I have all of the songs right now in place. I have all of them in place. They've been like, we're going through the process of like mixing and finishing touches and some additional production at the moment.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping to finish it by mid-February. Um, Obviously now because of some restrictions, there's like um, restricted time I can spend in the studio. So I have to see if there's, it was planned for me to finish it in January and go in studio and record and take a full week off and just, focus on that. But right now, because of the situation where we are, it's a little bit of a delay and a little bit challenging, but at the same time, it's not too far from the finished product. So um, I'm quite positive about it. So I think it will be 5 or 6 songs. I have 6 or 7, but obviously I'm gonna put a couple of singles out, and then they'll be part of the EP. So I can't say too much just yet, but it will
Yeah,
be it will be
very exciting. Very
yeah.
exciting. That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for talking with me today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. It's been great, and yeah,
Yeah.
really
I
enjoyed this.
I do have one more question for you. I want to know if you have any advice for aspiring artists.
I have more than one, probably like a lot of.
Let's hear it.
Trying to think what would be the main, the most important advice. I feel like I remember myself, like asking a lot of like well-established artists for an advice. Not that I'm at the stage where I would be able to, give the most important advice to anyone, but from what I've learned so far, I would say it's important to like take time with your art and with your music and with yourself, and just not to be afraid to like make mistakes and to go into direction and then decide that that's not what you want to do. I feel like in music, like it's more important to try and fail and understand what you want and what you don't want, rather than just trying to rush it and just do it because everyone's doing it, or because everyone's now releasing singles or EPs. You have to do it. I feel like just take time with yourself and listen to yourself. And I feel like it's important to also get, you know, support from other people, because there have been times where, as from my own experience, you know, I've been like doubting myself or like feeling very unsure. And I feel like especially like the industry, like music industry, and wanting to do what so many people want to do is great. But at the same time, if you don't do this for the love of music, if you do it for some other reason, that it might not be the right thing for you. So just understanding like the why behind everything you do, I think it's very important. Bringing it backward.